Okay, so you just got your kid their first RC, and there's a few things you should know I want to share with you. All right, so this happens to be the Hyboxing Hailstorm, and just it's a 1/16 scale. It's fairly small. I just want to kind of show you the inside, and we're going to go over some of the components. So here we have, this is the motor, obviously, with a heat sink. This basically just dissipates the heat. And this here is the receiver that basically reads with the remote control, and it has the ESC built in, which is the electronic speed control. It's basically the brain that kind of connects the servo, which moves the wheels, with the motor and makes everything operate. So this here is, we're going to call this the JST connector for your battery. So a lot of these smaller scale entry-level RCs will have battery connectors like this, the red one called the JST. So we're going to go over a couple of different styles of batteries. So this is the one that comes with it, and this is called a lithium-ion battery as opposed to a lithium polymer battery. So how you can tell the difference is lithium-ion battery, it looks like you can kind of see there's two cells. It's a little bit circular. It looks like there's two double A's in there, and so that's lithium ion. So lithium polymer is a little bit more dense. You can fit basically a bit more juice, if you will, in a fairly small package. So this looks similar. It's also blue, but as you can see, it doesn't have that form factor with the two cylinders. So these are actually two small, thin packs inside, and this is lithium polymer. So as far as the type of battery, this will just have more juice, a little bit more density. It's a little less stable than this. These ones are a little bit safer, and they don't have as much issue with not storing on 50% charge and all that kind of stuff. And whoa. The reason I got this particular Hyboxing one specifically for kids has to do with the feature of the remote. So the remote on the bottom does have a slow mode. So basically, as they're learning or starting out, or as you're learning and starting out, you can put on slow mode, and then when they get ready to be a little bit more comfortable, then they can just put on normal mode. I did clock the speed, so we're talking 10 miles an hour with the slow mode and about 17 miles an hour with the normal mode. So back when you guys were probably looking at RC cars, we're talking like 10, 15 plus years ago, a lot of the remote controls are more like what people are using nowadays for drones and airplanes. So nowadays, majority, like 98% of the time, you're going to see remote controls like this called pistol grip style. So you're going to be holding it like a pistol, and basically this dial, when you turn right, it'll turn right. When you turn left, it'll turn left. But the orientation is going to be this way. So forward is right, back is going to be left. And that's pretty much it. It does seem a little bit weird at first, but when you're a child and you get used to it, it's kind of like second nature. So when you first get started, what you want to do is you do want to turn on your remote control first, or your transmitter, before the vehicle. That way, if you turn on the vehicle and there's some sort of reception issue and there's something else going on in your area, you don't want the car to be zooming off by itself. You want the remote control to be on first, and so that's primarily why. All right, so next we're going to talk about how to charge your lithium-ion battery that comes with your small entry-level RC. So the lithium-ion battery or the whole kit will come with a charging cable that looks similar to this. This one is for a different RC that I have, but it's very, very similar. Basically, it's a USB on one end. You just plug that into an adapter in your wall, and then the other end is called a balance lead, and that will plug into the white balance lead on the battery. So as it's in the wall, it's a little confusing on whether it's charging or not, because there's not going to be a green light, there's not going to be a blinking light. It's just going to be black, just like it is now with me holding it. So when it's done charging, you'll see a solid red light on one of these sides, and as soon as you see that solid red light, it means it's fully charged, and you should pull this, you should unplug this. That'll just help you avoid overcharging, because whether you have a lithium-ion battery or a lithium polymer battery, you don't want to overcharge them. It's just not healthy for the battery as far as longevity and it lasting long enough to be able to use multiple times. It's also not that safe for storage. If you're gonna store it away for a week, a month, you do want to run this to about the halfway point. So if you don't have a fancy hobby grade charger, or you don't have the LiPo alarm, then what I would recommend is that this particular model I have used it quite a few times, and not the range, but the play time is about 20 minutes. So half of that would be about 10 minutes. So generally you can just, after 10 minutes, you just put this away, assume it's in storage charge, and then in a week, a month, whatever, you charge it again fully with this method, whatever method you have, and then you can continue playing. Okay, so you charged up your lithium ion battery that came with your RC with one of these guys. The light has turned red and you're good to go, so this is full. So again, you're gonna pop this guy open like this. This normally comes with a little body clip, so you're gonna pull that out, put this guy in here, and then put the body clip back in. So the red, this is the power lead, and this is actually called the balance lead. So that you're not going to use when you're actually playing with the vehicle. You're going to notice, actually I'm going to pull this back out. You're going to notice here you see there's a little indentation on the bottom of the connector, of this JST connector. And then here you're going to see kind of the opposite. So you're going to make sure that you're plugging it in this direction and not flipped around. Because of the way the plugs are made, it's difficult to do it that way. They do that on purpose because you could short things and basically fry all your electronics. So you want to make sure it's going the right direction. So you plug that guy in. Normally I put the battery in first. Put the body clip on, and I normally tuck this out of the way. You can ignore this little gadget. This is basically a reader for lithium polymer batteries to tell you when it's discharged beyond a safe point for the battery. But for lithium ion battery, you're not really going to use that. And as your first RC, you're probably not going to have that. This only goes for $1, $1.50, $2 sometimes. So it's not that big of a deal. I can do another video on how that operates. So then you're going to put this guy back on. For this particular rig, you just want to make sure that the front of the body is behind the bumper. Sometimes you're in a hurry and you kind of put it over and it doesn't align correctly. So you want to make sure that's on there. And your body clips will go through that little hole, through this one, and then through the back too. So generally RC cars will have 4 clips holding the body. Some do have 2, but the majority of the time it's going to be 4. So after that's done, you're going to go ahead, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to want to turn on your remote before you turn on the RC car. So in this case, you go ahead and just turn that on, and you're going to see a light blinking. So blinking means that it's looking for something to bind to. So once we turn on the RC car, you're going to see this turn solid. You can't see here, but I'll pick it up in a moment. So for the Hailstorm, you can actually just reach your finger in here and you're going to press the red button. I'm going to take the thing off just so that you can see it. But basically you're going to kind of reach in under the body and you're going to hold this down. Generally for RC cars, it's a switch that you just toggle once and then it's on. But for this particular one, you're going to have to hold it for 2 seconds. And then how you know it's on for this particular one is you'll see the headlights first of all, and then you may see the front wheels kind of twitch. So to see if it's on, don't pull the throttle because you'll make it go. So you just want to move the steering to make sure it's moving correctly, and then you can start playing. One thing I wanted to mention about the remote control is once you get it on and your RC car is on, and you do try the throttle for the first time, this dial here is called the trim. So basically, it fine-tunes the alignment of the wheels. So out of the box, it may, be slightly like this. I'm exaggerating, but it may be slightly like that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go in a straight line with the RC car in front of you. And then if it goes too far to left, you're just gonna turn this dial a little bit to the right. If it turns too far to left or too far to the right, then you're gonna do the opposite. One method I found that is helpful is actually, rather than going forward, you have the RC car fairly far in front of you. I mean, on the road or wherever you're riding. And then you actually push this to go backwards. And when you go backwards, if it doesn't spin out and turn quite that much, then it's fairly aligned. If you find that when you go backwards and it starts spinning a little bit too abruptly or aggressively, then you're going to know you're going to need to turn that dial. So hopefully you found this YouTube video helpful on setting up your new RC. I have done quite extensive research on budget RCs and specific entry-level ones for parents and their kids. So if you have any questions, definitely leave a question below in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm new to this whole YouTube thing, so I'll probably be checking the YouTube a little bit more often than I should, but I'll get to it and I'll get back to you. So this channel hopefully will be about parents, dads in particular, just kind of exploring new activities and fun stuff for the kids, teaching them ins and outs of RC or Nerf or things like that. So yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.